All right, welcome back to the Financial Shepherd Happy Hour. Of course, it's Friday. The market is closed. Happy Friday, Ezra.
Cheers. Happy
Cheers.
Friday.
We made it to the end of the week.
Somehow.
Yeah, don't know how, but we made it. Welcome back to the show. My name is Joshua Casey Garland, certified financial planner, owner of Shepherd Wealth Management. It's my good friend and video editing genius, Ezra Kellerman, joining us as well. And not a whole lot of super exciting things to talk about this week, as other than the fact that it was actually a good week. So we don't have a whole bunch of, headache type of topics to talk about leading into the weekend here. So pretty short and sweet. It was a very nice and shortened week for the stock market, coming off of Labor Day, where things, market was completely closed. Tuesday was a rough day for the market on the heels of the Jackson Hole meeting last Friday. Where basically the Fed Chairman Jerome Powell came out and made it very clear to the market, like, hey, there's no such thing as a pivot that's getting ready to happen here. We need to continue to do our job to fight inflation. The market is starting to see signs of inflation starting to cool. The expectation is going into next week is that the inflation data that will be reported on Tuesday should be even a little bit better than it was the prior month. But all that being said, it was a really strong week for the market, even though it was a shortened week. And this Friday was kind of the exclamation point as far as performance goes. We had the NASDAQ over 2% just today. S&P 500 was up about 1.5%. And the Dow Jones was up about 1.2% for the week, with even the Russell 2000 being positive nearly 2% for today. However, for the week, the Dow Jones was up 2.6%. S&P 500 was up 3.5% for the week. And the NASDAQ had a outperformance of 4%. Positive for the week, with oil actually being flat. And mainly the reason why it was flat had to do with a lot of the recovery that we saw in energy today, which really has everything to do with the fact that we don't really exactly know what's going to happen over in Europe going into this winter. The natural gas pipeline from Russia, which they're highly dependent on to heat their homes and to power electricity in the countries in that region, we're just really not sure when they're going to continue to flow that resource, to those countries. So oil, natural gas, and specifically had a pretty nice spike today, but overall that sector for the week was relatively flat. We'll see what happens in the coming weeks as we get closer and closer to the end of the year and colder type of weather. So next week, as I mentioned, is kind of the big headline this is kind of like our Super Bowl every single month almost, where we have new CPI inflation data, and on Tuesday, September 13th, about 8:30 in the morning, we'll get a new reading on that. And I guess I'll have to get popcorn ready or something like that.
The dreaded Tuesday the 13th. They make horror movies about that. So.
Yeah, they'll be studying this year and the really the era that we've been in here since the global pandemic that happened in March of 2020. I truly believe that these are going to be like case studies in academia and the college ranks for the next 70 plus years, probably.
Yeah. I'm just looking for myself to pop up in some kind of PBS special.
Maybe this will pop up.
Ken Burns will narrate it. Yeah, they're going to use the Financial Shepherd Happy.
Hey, and anything can happen for sure. So we'll get that inflation data next week. Really what we've been doing here at Shepherd Wealth Management for clients, and I put this in the newsletter, there's a whole bunch of reasons why, I believe that inflation's starting to roll over, which is going to be a good thing for equities, specifically technology, which has had, the biggest drop of any of the major sectors, the S&P 500 so far this year, but it is the most important sector. So really what we've been doing recently is kind of loading up in the healthcare field. We kind of talked about this a little bit before, today's happy hour. The reason for that is healthcare kind of gives you the best of both worlds in an environment like we're in right now with a whole bunch of uncertainty. Is we get to play offense, get to participate in the stock market for those companies in the healthcare sector, like your Mercks, your AbbVies, your Abbott Labs, your Pfizers, your so on and so forth. So we are participating in their growth, but we also get to play a little defense in that sector as well, because if the worst things do actually happen, like even if you are planning for the worst case scenario, well, likely if you get sick, you break your arm, you get diagnosed with something, you're going to go get treatment and, have a bill that you actually have to pay, or that bill is going to go to your insurance carrier. So
if you can't walk it off.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we've been loading up on healthcare, no doubt. We've been in energy pretty heavily all year long. And obviously with technology, getting beat up the most, like Buffett has been preaching for 60 plus years. He's going to buy fear and sell greed. And right now, everybody wants to own energy for obvious reasons. I mean, that sector year to date is positive 41%, which is a far cry, long shot away from the second best performer, which is utilities, about 7%, which to me is even a loss, right? Because you got inflation at 8%. So the real return is still negative. So the greed is definitely in energy for very obvious reasons. Not just to me, but probably all of you watching and watching the news of what's going on there geopolitically wise over in Europe. So we'll actually see what happens there. But the game plan would be to take profits off of energy and maybe even some off the healthcare coming in here the latter part of the year and reallocate that towards the most fearful part of the market, which is technology, which, by the way, is the most important part of the market. Let's just not mix words about that. Simply put, I don't care if you're Walmart, if you're Costco, if you're a cigar company, wherever you are using technology in some way, shape, or form, either to function and operate your business more efficiently, protect the data that you have from a security standpoint. It is without a doubt the most important sector of the market, even though energy is getting all the attention. Generally, energy is usually about 2% of the overall S&P 500, where technology is north of 20% of the overall sector, or overall S&P 500. So that's the game plan. Hopefully you've been following us all year long. If you haven't been, definitely check out the website, shepherdwm.com. There's links right on the website that take you right to our YouTube page where you can catch these videos, both the happy hours that we're doing and the full scale production, podcast that we do about every couple of weeks. They'll also take you to a link to Spotify if you prefer to listen to the audio, as you're commuting to work or wherever it is that you may be commuting to, which kind of to wrap this whole thing up this week as something that we're both very, very excited about.
Yes.
Going to go full blown promotion for this starting on Monday is when we're going to start it, is the Foundation for Appalachian Kentucky. I mentioned this a week ago. I got to go to Hazard, Kentucky with a friend of mine, and we spent the whole day there. There have been people there since the flood actually happened several weeks ago, and they really haven't left. It's working tirelessly. I got to meet a couple that were retired. I mean, they were spending their retirement years, their retirement money on commuting from Tennessee to Hazard, Kentucky, and staying there. And they're really not leaving until more work has been done as far as cleanup, helping people get, the resources and things that they need to get back on their feet and ultimately get back to, a normal life, which quite frankly, after being there for a full day, it's going to take probably years.
If it'd be lucky if it was only years.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
And it is sad, no doubt. So a whole lot of promotion is going to go behind the scene, or going to go directly to the public. But we've been working behind the scenes with the Foundation of Appalachian Kentucky. They raise the money. They have the boots on the ground. They're not politically affiliated. They have no religious affiliation whatsoever. They're really just good people there to help in a crisis situation. And without a doubt, it's definitely a crisis. So you'll have the opportunity to share these links that we're going to send out on social media. Please share that with all your friends, family members, anybody that can help out with $5 to this type of donation. We want to be able to raise $20,000, and Shepherd Wealth Management would like to make a matching contribution of 10% of the total that we do raise. And all the money is not coming to us; it's going directly to the foundation, so that money can get deployed to the people that need it, the most right away, as quickly as possible. And of course, all donations will have a nice charitable deduction on your tax return as well. So look out for that next week. We're going to go pretty hard for a couple weeks on that, trying to raise as much money as we possibly can to help those folks down there. It's a big part of our core values here at Shepherd Wealth Management, and I'm very excited to be of help, because they certainly are going to need that. So kind of wrap it up. Look forward to next week's CPI and the inflation data that will come along with that. And obviously, that's going to dictate probably a lot of things that are going to happen over the markets between the next Fed meeting, which is coming up September 20th and the 21st. So a lot of more inflation news to come out all the way through the end of September. Usually, September is a very tough month for stocks. Yep. If you look at it historically, it is the worst month from a performance standpoint.
Did a good podcast about that last week.
We did.
Check it out on YouTube.
You can check that out on YouTube. And I think we may have pulled some of that negativity in August. Like investors are expecting a lot of negativity to happen in September. They got some really hawkish information from the Fed. And then I think we pulled a lot of that negativity into August. So we'll see what actually happens here in September. Even if we had a flat September, historically, that's awesome. Anything in the positive direction would be
just like, Mardi Gras.
It would be. I mean, because history would say if you come into September on a down year, which obviously we're in, so far year to date, you would expect September to also be negative. And even if you come into September positively, which we're definitely not, you don't get a whole lot of outperformance in September. So we'll see what happens. I think it's all going to be riding on the number that we see on Tuesday and Wednesday next week on inflation. And that all leads into the following week where the Fed's going to make their decision. I would expect 75 basis points. And the reality is the market's expecting that as well, based on what you're seeing in interest rates and the bond market. So we'll see what happens. As I'm very excited. I think we're positioned well. And
I got my popcorn right next to my buy button.
All right. Well, make sure everybody's checking us out on YouTube again. A lot of cool stuff coming around. My name is Joshua Casey Garland, certified financial planner, owner of Shepherd Wealth Management. Wishing you all a happy rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend. Check out some football. And we'll catch you all again next week. Cheers.
Peace.